makes the zodiac not necessarily something that's pie in the sky type. Just in it, talking about the past and future and all this sort of, predicting your future and that sort of thing. It actually starts to work as a calculator for how these energies are actually operating with each other. Just how planets are interacting.
So real quick, this is what I think is so fascinating about people who, like myself, are listening and taking this in is you're looking at this, as we know, as Crow says, it's the sky clock. Nature doesn't lie. It goes back to the sky clock. Everything goes back to the sun.
So I heard him just mention Crow's name.
What do most people think about the zodiac?
So I'm already suspicious about that. I wonder about that. Never heard from Crow. Never a message from him, nothing. After showing him everything, and I didn't make a series to him, but I showed him what I'm about to show you now. But much better. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm giving a chance to listen to some other opinions and see if they cross paths with what I'm seeing. And I was trying to get away from the flat earthers because I was working on flat earthers for 3 years and never got anything good out of anybody. No one really. Definitely none of the big channels that I was calling out. They never came in. The closest I got to anybody doing that was Brian Austin Lambert under a false name. And, he seemed like a nice enough guy to me. I would have worked with him and Mia, or even just him, and tried to get to the bottom of this shit. But what he was doing was he was, trying to get me to backslide on stuff. And I don't know. I got to be worried, too, that it's my own suspicions, because I'm suspicious of everybody, because Brian was just such a nice guy. He's just seems like a really nice guy. So maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. I'd have to fucking really think about it more, and I was done thinking about it. So I just gave up on him. It just seemed to me like if you could, for example, I'll give some quick examples I mentioned before, working with Brian Austin Lambert, under his false name, of course, under his false channel, because I don't even know that Brian Austin Lambert is his real name. I mean, I don't fucking know. But I do know that when I got to work with him was for a few months, and like some examples where he could print up and hanging behind his rear shoulder, his left shoulder, I believe it was the, I don't have one laying around, but the AE map. And I'm trying to show everybody the moon map model. And I've got really good models now. I mean, they're not fancy like you guys are doing. That's the channel I'm listening to right now, is because I just got turned on to it in the last couple of weeks. Maybe it's a psyop, I don't know. It's called Electric Flat Earth, so it sounded right up my alley. Everything except for the flat, everything except for the earth. The terminology. But what this dude is saying, this other guy, Patrick, there's another guy, Patrick, on here talking to someone else, and they just mentioned Crow's name. So these are obviously, buddies of Crow. That I've been saying it right along, electric flat earth. Already, just from hearing the name, I already look at it as a psyop. All the flat earthers should have the information by now that I'm trying to share with all of you. You can see the builders for yourselves. You can see the evidence of the builders. You can see what the builders are building you. You have to stop using your imaginations if you're going to do this. I don't have it all figured out either. That's one of the things I like this guy Patrick saying, is that he doesn't have it all figured out. And he does have some of the electrical parts figured out, but not all of them. And that's why I felt the need to come do this. I was supposed to do this like months ago, but I got to go through these models. I'm going to take a few hours over the next, next couple days or something, and go over these models. And I'm going to just put them on the Harold Kautz series, but I'm probably going to change it from Wolfie to Electric Flat Earth. And I'll be calling out Harold Kautz at the same time. So I'm calling out a heliocentric, because I do agree with you guys when I'm listening to you guys talk to flat earthers. I agree. I don't just agree. I can prove that that's nonsense. This whole ball is bullshit. This, spinning wet pararocket ball that everyone's always complaining about on the flat earth side, it's all bullshit. But unfortunately, so is this. So is this one. This is the flat earth model. And this one's also bullshit. The terminology right away is totally fucking psyop terminology. If anybody really believes in the things that they're saying, they should have already gotten away from the terminology. So that tells me that you're either looking for views and you're looking for more subs in order to for monetary gain or popularity. There's a lot of popularity shit going on. I get accused of it all the time. Oh, you're just trying to be some famous guy. Get the fuck out of here, man. Go watch my videos. That it's not what it's about for me. But it's obvious to me that everybody else is. And that's what it's about. I don't see a chance of me becoming any kind of a superstar. So that's why I don't even try. That's one reason. Another reason is I don't think I could handle the popularity. I don't want to be bothered, really. You know what I mean? But I do want to not live in a false system anymore. I want the real system to be observed and admitted and admired. I mean, it's being shown to us. That's why I'm showing it to you guys in the clouds, the stones, the rocks. Because I'm bringing you places of fire, smoke, the moon. I'm trying to go place to place, but the moon and the clouds seem to be my best bet for what I'm trying to show you guys. It is above, is so below. This is one of my older models. I then had changed this into the moon map model because that's the moon I have on there. I've got several layers of the moon because there's evidence for this, and you can all see it for yourselves, and you can all see it with your own eyes. These images that are making up the moon, I'm not calling it a hologram. I'm not calling it a holographic system. None of that shit. I'm not calling it flat. It's not a fucking ball. As a matter of fact, even the earth, to describe it as the earth is only the area that we walk on. It has nothing to do with the rest of the system. As I'm explaining this, I have several models laying around. I've got this model. I'm going to try to just explain this with this model. Also with this model, with a laser beam, some strings, stick, whatever. And then I have my main model, which is a working model with the magnets all set up to it, and I can put power on it. And that's an actual working model. That working model, which doesn't work perfectly, believe me, but it gives me the gist of what I need to know for exactly what you guys are explaining right now. Everything that you're talking about the minerals, the mercury, you might even be up on me on a lot of you are definitely up on me on these heavy metals, right? That's why I don't get caught up in all the little detail shit, because you can see everything. You can see it all for yourselves. We need to backstep it, get away from all the fucking programming that we've been all programmed with, and including, this guy, Patrick, whatever his last name is, I don't know, but Electric Flat Earth. And we need to get away from that shit, because was the mistake in the first place. Those were some of the mistakes in the first place, and we just keep continuing them. And then here you guys are making a lot of sense to me about a lot of the shit you're saying based on previous programming. It's all fucking nonsense. And why argue with these assholes to believe this? Because they don't even look. Whatever they're told. And we used to be these guys. Don't forget, we used to be them. And they won't ask. They think, okay, we learned it in school. Why would our teachers lie? Why would our parents lie to us about this? This is ridiculous. There's no fucking way this is a lie. All science, all this shit all tells us it's this. And so why would we even question it, right? And that was all of us, everybody. You just mentioned that in the last 90 years, the heliocentric model's been coming out and the geocentric model going away. But the geocentric model were also lies. The geocentric model are filled with fucking lies. Because this model that I'm about to show you, you'll be able to see it all. You'll be able to see what I'm explaining to you all, everything, by looking at the imagery in the moon, accepting the builders for what they are and what they're building us, understanding the cycles and the turning of the moon. This is not because I'm a fucking genius. This is not because I studied up on astrology, as I was saying in earlier videos. Astrology has it all wrong as well. Everybody's got it fucking wrong. Wrong as far as reality goes, but as far as using our imagination in the bio realm, okay, fine. You know, you can use your imagination, and whatever we imagine can become, right? So we all imagine living on this, and therefore 7.8 billion people believe that. Doesn't make it real. That doesn't make it really what's going on. And then at some point, when they want to change up the psyop and get everybody going back and forth fighting with each other, because that's all this is about. Going from this to this is just about getting people arguing. They're not telling you the truth, either one of these models. The flat earth model, flat, it's not, right? It's not flat. So why would we even consider that as part of our programming, right? Why would we even consider it? Number one, it pisses off all of our family and friends and everything like that. So that's good. That's probably the only good thing. And we do that, we meaning anybody that goes against this eventually. And then what happens is we get into all that and argue and debate and fight back and forth and say, no, it's definitely more like this, and we want to go back to the geocentric model. Well, the geocentric model fucking was all lies as well. And you can prove this. You can prove this by looking. You don't have to study nothing. You don't have to... The mineral chart, the table of elements, it's bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. We should not be even... And he's saying some things on here that lead me to believe he will understand what it is I'm saying. Possibly both of these guys might. So I'm going to give it a try. Because maybe someone else will come along and get it as well. What he's mentioning is the electric ability and the electromagnetic ability. That's why his channel should be called Electromagnetic Nanocarbon System. That's it. That's the best you should be able to describe it. That should be the name of the channel. Because leave flat out of it, it's not fucking flat. So let's stop the lies. It's not a ball. Let's stop the lies. It's not a God. It's right. We know there's a creator. We can guarantee you that. Guarantee you there's a fucking creator, because these builders have been programmed. They're all part of the program. The builders, I'm telling you, that build everything actually all around us. They build everything, including I can go in, get some light behind it and go in on my skin, and we can do the same thing. And I can pull out the imagery, the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, which I'm doing right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in later, and I'll do the same thing with my skin as I can do with the clouds or the trees or anything else. I'm looking at a shitload of them all over the fucking place. I can change my angles so I can get them in the longer position. Feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. You can pick out the triangulars. You can know that all the different minerals that were making up me, my body, we can look at them really good. We can pick them all out. We can see the imagery. Feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. Where are the rest of the species? There are some questions still to be answered. Look at it all, man. It's fucking amazing to me that we can do this. Anyways, so we can see it all. So by going and looking at the moon, like I've been showing everybody, and identifying all the imagery in the moon, just that much is, I don't know, I don't even want to guess, maybe a few trillion images, because when you get down to the really, really fucking tiny ones that are to our eyes, you know, I can't count all that shit, you know. But I got at least a few, I would say a few million at least anyways, maybe even a couple billion to memory if I seen them. I probably would identify them. It's almost like watching a 1930s television show compared to watching a today's television show, or seeing a photograph from the 20s or something like that. That's what I would compare it to. Looking at the moon and the imagery that's in the moon compared to imagery that's in the clouds, imagery that's in other places. Now, You can go through 100 years of television and movies and identify what I'm telling you and see the builder, so you know they were always there. This is no space alien bullshit story takedown that happened in the last 20 to 30 years, like, some will claim. To talk about the Harold Kautz thing, it's like, nah, bullshit. There are groups of humans who know a lot of this stuff consciously that I'm trying to explain to everybody on my channel. There are groups of humans who obviously know all this. They don't care about me. That's what I was saying earlier. That's another reason. They don't care about me. I'm too small. And if I was to get bigger, then I might attract attention to myself that I really don't want. So that's another reason why I like to call out the bigger channels. If I find someone who's a real person, if these guys end up being real people, one of the flat earthers will turn them, if they didn't already, hear about what I'm trying to show people, because as far as I'm concerned, what I'm showing people, it's all there, man. It's all fucking there for everyone to see. There's no reason why anybody should not be saying, dude, you gotta go fucking see this. You gotta see this. It's ridiculous that people don't do that. And not to come to my channel, but to do like what these guys are doing. Did they and others, are they out there actually taking some of the shit that I'm saying, going and looking at it, and then putting it together better than I can put it together? That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. So as I'm coming over to here and I'm listening to him, some of the shit, like I said, he's got the heavy metals down, I think, better than I do. But he's also using programmed things to talk about it. And I understand the tongue-tiedness, the fact that he's sometimes tongue-tied for explanation and how to explain things. It happens to me all the fucking time, especially with me, because I'm trying to find other terminology that's other than the program terminology. And that's definitely not easy to do either. So I get him on that stuff. But again, the flat earth thing, if they're friends of Crow, then they definitely should have heard of my channel and went and looked at what I'm trying to show people. It's been 3 years. There's no fucking way. I had enough flat earthers come in here and bust my balls and bug me about shit over the time. So I'm going to, under the Haral Kautz series anyways, I'm going to go through this model and I'm going to try to explain things a little bit better. Just very quickly, it works like a gyroscope. This does not work. This does not work. And I'll tell you why, to Patrick, and maybe even, Harold Kautz is not going to get any of this, but these guys will. The flat earthers will. The dome doesn't work. It would have to work as a ladle. Or not, what's it called? Ladle, dreidel. That was the song. Dreidel from South Park. It would have to work as a dreidel, in order to keep everything going. And I needed something, and it sounds like as well you do too. You need something that keeps it all going. There has to be something that keeps things in motion, and there has to be something to keep everything balanced, perfectly balanced, and do its thing that it does. I'm representing the atmosphere, right, and the stars and whatever, everything that I'm going to represent up there. But I'm showing you on this flat Earth model why that does not work. It is above is so below. Okay, it is above is so below. Not quite like this though. More like that, because there is no above and there is no below. Definitely provable. You can prove that to yourself 100%, no doubt. See it with your own fucking eyes. Accepting and understanding it is going to be another story. This is another model that I'm going to try to show that to you, what I'm talking about, and represent that. What we would call the upside, we would call the top side. There is no difference. They're both identical. They're the same. And when I say identical, you think of two things that are the same. It's not. It's because it's all one. This is all one unit. It's all one system. It all works as one, including us, the insects, as far as I know, all the other creatures as well too. I cannot prove that they don't, because we can see them here in our conscious reality. So obviously all these other creatures, other than the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, I'm assuming feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast are the creator's original program. And all these other creatures of the earth came later. It seems to me that's a given. If you go and look at the imagery and everything and you start seeing it all and you get to thinking about it, and you're going to be like, okay, so I see the builders. It's going to take you some time. It took me probably a year to get it all around my head as well. But at least if you did, you would stop calling it a flat and you would stop calling it an earth, because the earth that we walk on is only one part of the system. It's an important part, and I'm going to explain to you. You'll be able to go and see what that part actually really does. It's pretty fucking amazing to me. So let's see if I should start getting into some of this. All right. So that's a moon map model in there. This area up here, this clear thing, you see I got representation of the stars. Okay, it's just a rough representation of the stars. We see this as the earth that we walk on. Okay, I got a moon map model in there. You more see yourself on something, like this, but on a flat surface. And I understand that flat earthers believe that it's a mountainous terrain, and they understand about, big bowls to make up oceans, and all. I understand that, so don't think that I don't. Unfortunately, you still use the terminology flat earth, and that's I can't go along with not nonsense anymore. It's psyop terminology to keep everybody arguing and fighting and debating, and don't give anybody any reality. They let you get real close to some reality. That's what I'm hearing you do now. That's what I'm hearing you talk about. You get real close to it, but there's a lot of people that get close to it, and nobody ever really just looks and sees it for what it is. I do now. I see it for what it is, and I'd like others to see it for what it is too, so maybe we can figure out the rest of it before I have to leave this, shell. Before I have to leave this shell, I would like to know all the answers, and especially about the other creatures of the earth. Okay, so we would call this below, right? We would call this below. And again, there's a moon map model there. I have Polaris represented. Now, you guys on this channel were just talking about this, about Polaris and what its actions are. You see these bars I got represented out here? Okay, you guys are wondering, because you guys are only thinking about up here. That's what you're thinking about. You're thinking what you think is up here, but up here is really not up here. It's all one unit. It doesn't matter what direction it goes in, because it's like a gyroscope. It doesn't matter on what we would call the inside. Now, it's not made of glass, it's not made of plastic, it's not dry ice, and it's not a solid surface, it's not a firmament, it's not even a veil. And you'll hear me refer to it as a veil all the time, because a veil means it would be veiling like this. I would imagine it wouldn't go what we would call down here, right? Down here doesn't even get thought of. It doesn't even get talked about, nothing. Down here has to happen. And down here, remember, is not really down here, because it doesn't matter which way I put this thing. Let's see if I can do this. I'd have to do it like this. I guess I could try this. Okay. Okay. When you go look at the clouds, and you start looking at the trees, the clouds, and studying the imagery and watching the builders work, and you're watching the builders build, what you're going to notice is that they don't see up, down, left, right, backward, forward. They do not understand it, don't care about it, no concern of theirs. No matter if it's the clouds, the ice, the snow, the rocks, the mountainsides, the landscapes, the grass, I don't give a fuck what it is. My skin just now, it doesn't care. Humans care about up, down, left, right, backward, forward, but the system, it does not, okay? It's important to remember that. So it is above, it's so below, because on the inside, it doesn't matter what the outside of this is doing. It makes no fucking difference. I'm going to flip it totally upside down right now, but what you have to understand is it makes no difference where it is in its reality, okay? It doesn't really matter, because we will still be, let's say, we're here, just so you understand this. So we're here, right? Or did I have it like this before? So we're here. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're here, okay, walking around on what we call the earth. And in there, we see everything is up, down, left, right, backward, forward. But the system as a whole does not. Okay? We can prove this by going and looking for yourselves at the system, and it's very simple. I mean, the clouds, the moon, the start with those two, and then go for the trees, the rocks, the stones, your human skin, all the other creatures. And I have been through a lot of other creatures that fall outside the category of feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, and they all show the same imagery: the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. So again, tells me that that's the program. That was the purposeful, actual program of the creator. So we have to have a creator. Has to be, for there to be a program. Okay. What else did I want to use that model to explain? Because I want to explain that because I'll have a harder time explaining that part of it when I get to the other two models. So this outside layer, okay, you guys, to Patrick and I gotta find out this other guy's name, but to Electric Flat Earth channel. The outside that you guys are talking about in here, about the firmament that you're thinking is the firmament, okay, it doesn't have to be anything physical. It doesn't have to be a solid like you're thinking. It doesn't have to be a glass. It doesn't have to be even a dry ice dome like Brian Austin Lambert's model, because I used to like Brian's model too. Because it made sense. I mean, it made sense. But it doesn't have to be. It could be. It could be one of those things, but I don't think so. The magnetic part of it that you're talking about right now on your channel, you guys are right now, just a minute ago, you were talking about you guys are calling them the electrolytes. They're electromagnetic nanocarbon. That's the system. It's an electromagnetic nanocarbon system. And the builders, these triangular shapes that I'm telling you, you can see everywhere, all around you when you look. You just really, when you look, you're going to see them. You'll start to see it and you'll be like, holy fuck. We can see the whole system for ourselves. And then when you do, then you have to understand that those triangular shapes, those triangular energies, you're calling them electrolytes. They're builders. That's us. When this bio shell dies off, we go back to the other side and we are back to that again. If we want to come right back, it seems to me that that's also an easy possibility. In other words, reincarnation. But we fuck it all up just like we do everything else. The zombie slaves, we tell ourselves so many nonsensical bullshit stories. And one of the nonsensical bullshit stories is that we should bury our bodies. And unfortunately, if you want to come back as a reincarnation, meaning you want to come back as yourself, I believe that my last life, I believe that's a possibility for me. Because when all this started coming to me, it all started coming really fast and very clear. And it was like a warm up. It was like a 10-year warm up for all this to come to me. And very much out of character. It's not my personality. It's not my field. It's not my thought process ever in my life until all of a sudden. So anyway, it doesn't have to be that. What you guys were talking about, it's just, think of the magnetic ability, the magnetic part of everything. They tell you to go, now that you're a flat earther, they tell you to argue against gravity. And the arguments that everyone has against gravity on the flat earth side, they are decent arguments, but they're going to fall on deaf ears because everybody believes in this spinning wet pararocket bullshit. So you're just going to be arguing and debating. And then most likely what they're going to say is, the other side says to you guys, yeah, whatever goes up must come down. They don't think what you're actually leading to. I just heard you saying that 10 minutes before I started the video as well. You started leading, but you didn't take it all the way there, which I do all the time too. The idea that whatever comes down must go up. Okay, and that's true. And I've been pointing this out about the gold, thinking that gold is very heavy and people think of it as heavy. Yeah, but eventually it breaks down. So you want to put a time period on it? Okay, we can figure that out. But whatever that time period is, it doesn't matter. The point is that heavy piece of fucking solid mass that's now in your hand, on your wrist, whatever, a piece of gold jewelry that you got, eventually will break down over some period of time, and it's dust that it creates, or if it's broken down in a acid or a liquid or a gas of some kind, or if it's melted in some other way and the gases then go up into the air from the smelting process, all that shit, eventually that gold goes back up to the system, into the system, because there is no up in the system. There is no up, down, left, right, backward, forward. It's fucking amazing that it was this simple. So we want to think that, we live up here, and that's fine. We do live up here. And we say what is above is so below, and we think this is above and this is below. Or we think this is above and, right here is below, right? But it's not. It's not. It goes all the way through to the other side. And I'm going to try to show you that. I'm trying to represent these things with these few models that I got worked out. This one's representing the outer layer with plastic and some glitter and some aluminum foil. It's a very chintzy thing, but first of all, I like to do shit like this because it settles things in my own mind. When I see them in my head, I want to see them. I want to put my hands on it and see what happens, So anyways, so what happens is this. This is what I noticed, and this is for anybody to see. You guys sound like if you go look at what I'm going to show you, you'll see it right away. You'll understand it, and you'll probably blow me a fuck away with what you can show me. See the gyroscope aspect that I put into this model when I did this one? See the two bars? I can pull this off if I had a helper, but I don't. I could pull this off the bar, and you'll notice that one spins out. Okay, you see how it's all spinning? It's going to spin around each other like this. Let me see. See how I can come back and catch it? It's got a gyroscope aspect of it. At least a visual is gyroscope aspect. If I put it there, it wouldn't continue going. It's a very crude model. But it gets me through several points that I need to make that are also provable. I'm showing people in my videos, if you go back and watch my videos, that if you go to these moons, these are all moons printed on paper, and I get a lot of bullshit about that and stuff from different people, especially the heliocentrics, man, unfucking believable. They are definitely worse than the flat earthers, but you flat earthers are also, I just can't trust anybody anymore, unfortunately. Everybody's just so full of shit. Anyways, when you go look at the imagery that makes up the moon, you will notice these little points of light everywhere. You flat earthers have been talking about this shit for a few years. I think you flat earthers, and when I say you flat earthers, I'm definitely with you guys on a lot of the shits with your models. It's the terminology that's a psyop, and then a lot of the religions, a lot of the old geocentric religions went with the model, which I also don't go along with anymore. Anyways, you take these little points of light, and you know what those points of light are all going to lead up to? And I heard you mention earlier, how to find and identify Polaris. Someone else mentioned the Big Dipper, and then I think one of you said, what's the one with was it 3 stars in a row, one of the other constellations. So you guys are recognizing some of the constellations in the sky, in your night sky. What I'm telling you is go to your moon and identify them in the moon. You can do that by printing the moon on clear plastic, which I've done in several different situations here because I got them represented like this so I can send my laser beam down through here to try to show you what I'm about to show you. What am I at for minutes? Okay. And I'll probably remake these videos if I end up making a series too. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this. I only got 10, 15 minutes, whatever left on this camera, so give me a second. Just to go over the model real quick. I showed you my gyroscope aspect of the model. What keeps things going, what keeps things spinning, what keeps things lined up and going back and forth. Like on this thing, they tell us that we're doing this, you know, and I used to say 15 degrees. I don't know why I was thinking now, whatever the fuck it is, 23 degrees or whatever the tilt is, which is totally ridiculous. I mean, I was explaining to my son yesterday, and one night the moon is riding out here, and then the next night it's over here, and we didn't feel it. Fuck you, man. Fucking liars. So, all kinds of crazy shit. It just doesn't work. Not for me anyway. I don't have a good enough imagination to make that work, and I no longer have a good enough imagination to make that work. This is based on reality, shit I can see with my own fucking eyes. And if the constellations are mapped out in the moon, then what's happening is this represents, and now again, we think we're here. We think we're here, okay? There's our moon. This is represents Polaris, by the way. This is representing Polaris, this line going up this way. All these little tapes, red electrical tapes, white electrical tape, blue electrical tape, all these are representing what you would call your planets, or if you're a flat earther, you'd call them your wandering stars. These are the stationary stars. I got them represented by this shiny, foily area without getting too detailed, you know, putting little dots of holes in them and shining light through and all that shit. So what I'm going to do is just explain this to you, and then I'll show you where I get off saying this, because I can see it. Where the fuck's my light? You can see it all happening. So once you get an idea, if you go look at the moon, recognize the imagery in the moon, first of all, recognize the builders, go ahead and do that. That'll take a couple weeks. Once you do that, come back and take a look at this video and see what I'm telling you about the model. Because you're very close. I want what you were just saying in your video about the sun and the moon. Very close, but not quite. And this is how easy it is. Okay, stationary stars I'm going to represent with my laser beam. The light, each one represent, you know, billions and billions of them, right? I'm just going to only represent one coming down from here, and hopefully you can see that laser beam. All right, so I'm representing one star out of here. Let's say it's the Dipper, and I'll try to get on it because that's the one I usually try to do. Okay, so as the moon is turning through our sky in a clockwise rotation, because that's the way it rolls, this one point of light lines up at the Earth. The Earth does not move, just like you think in your model that I don't even want to keep saying the word because that's how much I hate that fucking psyop shit, you know? The whole flat Earth nonsense is a psyop. But here's the thing, you can see this. So if each one comes down here and then goes down through the Earth, right? And comes down through the Earth, but it's at its connection. Now, of course, the day that any species, any bio creature, I don't care if it's a tree, a fucking human, a cat, a dolphin, whatever, is in that location at the time that certain things are lined up. That's why I was saying to the astrologers and the psychics and the people that are doing readings and shit, you really gotta go see the system and how it works, because what they're doing is wrong. It's definitely wrong. It's 100% provably wrong, because if everything is based on, let's say when a birth happens, you know, something grows out of the womb, a tree grows out of the ground, right? We don't even count its birth. We don't count the electrical part, the part that you guys are talking about, electrical flat earthers. You guys are talking about all that shit, and you're, again, very close and right on some of this stuff. So you might get this. All right, so if we say that we're born on a certain day, that we're going by the bio birth of saying that it's when we come out of mommy's womb. That's not the case. The bio birth happens when the triangular shapes I'm showing you, when the builder meets the bio world and comes to the bio world. That's your soul, that's your spirit, that's your energy. And yes, we definitely fuck it all up, man, with the vaccinations, the food. We eat like motherfuckers. Our mouths were not even designed or made to eat in the first place. But yet we all lie to each other and ourselves and say that they were. We're absorption creatures, just like all the other creatures of the earth were at one time. We were not supposed to be eating the way that we do. We fucked up. Anyways, so the energy comes down, boom, it goes through the earth. I got my laser beam back up on my moon again, coming down, representing one star in the dipper coming through the earth. Now again, the earth does not move. It never moves. It doesn't move. It's stays still. And it's gonna always appear that it's gonna stay still because now here's the part that you guys are gonna be all new to you. This part's a little new to you, but it gets even worse. Okay, the energy comes down. It doesn't just stop at the earth. It doesn't stop here because we don't work like a dreidel. It doesn't work like a fucking dreidel. It cannot. Why can it not? Well, you're pointing it out on your channel, Electrical Flat Earth. You're talking about it is because to keep it balanced. It's impossible. It's not going to work. So if I can see the rest of it and I know that the system doesn't see up, down, left, right, backward, or forward, then there's no reason for me to not go the next step further and say, okay, so then the connection comes down through the earth, connects to another moon, because that's what the moon is. I forget what you were calling it, but you're very fucking close, man. You're very close. It's transferring. It transfers the energy from the stationary stars. Stationary stars' energy comes through the earth, I'm sorry, through the moon, and then connects to the earth and goes back out what we call the other side. And then the system sees it all as one. The system just sees it as one energy, the whole fucking thing. And I don't know how many energies like this are outside our energy, right? There could be other ones. In the space alien bullshit stories, they would call them other dimensions. Even down here might even be considered another dimension, but it's not. It's just the other connection. It's all one. It's not the other connection because there is no other connection. It's all one. We divide. We're the dividers. The human construct, the human influence is the divider. We divide every fucking thing by race, color, creed, monetary, whatever, everything. Height, fatness, skinniness, accent, we divide by every fucking thing. Dog, cats, fighting in the streets, it's crazy. Anyways, so stationary stars. Again, I could just go like this and say, that's us, right? And then you'd be like, no, that's the bottom. That's the bottom. No, it doesn't matter. It does not fucking matter. Okay, so all this gyroscope shit goes around. I needed it to stay in balance. It doesn't stay in balance as a dreidel. You know, I'm trying to go on here. It doesn't stay in balance on a dreidel. So it would for a little while, but it wouldn't keep continuing to go, right? That's what dreidels are going to fall down and they're not going to stay perfectly balanced. So what does gyroscope? So if we put all the same exact identical, again, not identical, same as, part of, so there's not two Mars, you know, there's not two Uranus, if we're going to use programming terminology to name off these fucking planets. I mean, it's fucking stupid too. We should rename everything. Everything should be renamed. The moon should not be called the moon. It should be called what it is. The earth that we walk on should be represented and called what it is. The whole system as a whole could be renamed. Right now, I'm just calling it the system. Because I'm not going to call it an earth. The earth is right here. We walk on the earth. Yeah, gotcha. Doesn't fucking tell me nothing. All the other shit I was ever told has all been lies. Anyways, the electrical tapes are all representing those planets, what you call planets or wandering stars. So as this gyroscope is going around, now again, we can't get to the north and we can't get to the south. We're never going to get to the south. We're never going to get out here. That was part of our agreement when we sold out. We are obviously zombie slaves and we sold out. I have evidence for that. You have your own evidence for that. Be honest and truthful with yourself and you'll see. The sun represented here and here. Okay, it doesn't mean that there's two suns. It means there's one sun. There's one sun. Even though you're seeing two in my model, that's one sun because it's all one. What these things do, what everything does, like I was explaining to you, the moon is obviously transferring the energy. It keeps everything in time. It's helping to keep it all in time. What keeps it in balance? these planets. You guys sound like you figure this out quicker than I certainly than I could. You have to take the lies and the bullshit stories from your religion, your flat earth religion, your heliocentric religions, and you got to weed out the bullshit and try to get to the understanding the truth about these things, and then being able to see them in order to prove them to yourselves. Don't just accept it anymore. But I'm grateful because at least you're looking. At least these people got an interest. So I got to put my word out there just so in case. I know that the flat earthers that are on my channel will get this back to you, but I also know they got it back to Crow. I also know that they got it back to Richie from Boston, Santos Bonacci, Antonio Subarats, a whole shitload of them. I know that some real good flat earthers that I like that were out there that I called out over the years, and I don't see any of them going and even looking at what it is I'm trying to show you people. That tells me a lot. That tells me, except like I said, Brian Austin Lambert under a false name. So if you're coming under a false channel, false name, you got 3 subscribers. That's not going to help me get the word out there. It's not going to get me. And then you don't even admit that you're a flat earther, and then you're fucking around. Oh, that was what Brian was doing too. Is that he was what the oh yeah, I was telling you earlier that he had to print it up an AE map, and that was hanging behind his shoulder. But then when I asked him to print up a moon map model, in other words, just go print the moon, he was always having trouble with the ink cartridge, this and then, and then another time it was the camera to take some video of the moon. He couldn't get that together, which is very simple. I mean, I show people how to do it. It's so fucking easy. It's ridiculous. And it just reminded me of shit people were doing in my everyday life that were in denial of what I was showing them. They could see it, they could look at it, but then they'd forget about it. They would blank it out of their mind. That's how I know there's 7.8 billion zombie slaves. That's how I know it's not just one group of people, because it's everybody. It's everybody. I put this out to 10, 15,000 people and no one fucking looks. Come on. And they don't. That's a true statement. Like I said, they look, but then they run from it. Where the fuck are my smokes? Hold on a minute. Okay, my battery's getting low too anyway, so it's okay. I think I'm just going to end this video. I think that was enough. I've done other videos talking about that model, and that's a fun model too. I'll get into all that. If I do a series to you, especially, I'll get into that. And I'll come back to these models again, probably before the Harold Kautz series is up, and explain these in a little more detail as well. But I think I got it. So the gyroscope aspect of it keeps things in balance, keep things going. Oh, as I was saying before, we never get to the north. We never get to our north, and we never get to our south. So whatever we did at one time, we did have all this ability and this power to use all this. I gotta hit enable. Hold on. Fucking thing. We did, obviously, because we were able to move 350-ton stones for long distances and all this kind of shit. That was when we had the technology. We were living to 150 to 600 years if we were to weed out the bullshit stories. And an electrical earth, if you want to call it that, Patrick, is that's what you're going to call it. I can't do nothing about it. But do you think about that, what it is you're saying, that electrical earth? There was a time we were able to live that long. Now only the trees live to 150 to 300 years old. And why is that? Patrick, you just said it on your channel earlier, or whatever, on that show, was that the higher up you are, the better your energy is going to be. And there's reasons for that. Electrical, not only electrical, but electromagnetic reasons for that. And then we got Metellus comes into play, and we got a lot of bio shit that comes into play. Our electrical systems in our bodies have been totally ignored. A lot of different shit has gone wrong. and I don't see it ever getting better or any even chance for it. I'm just doing this for the fuck of it. I figure I got 30 years left or so, so while I'm here, I might as well try to get it out there, I guess. Um, oh, Probably because it's just that easy to see that if I just stay calm every week, see more and more becomes clear, and